Now, let's dive into the darkness.
Shattered realities. James Cartwright was an average man leading a modest life in a small Midwestern town. At 32, he worked a mundane office job, passing the days in a beige cubicle, dreaming of adventure. His friends, always seeking the next thrill, introduced him to Salvia, a potent hallucinogen promising tense, otherworldly experiences. Eager to escape his humdrum existence, James agreed to try it. One evening, he gathered with his friends in a dimly lit apartment. The room was filled with an air of anticipation and a hint of apprehension. Old band posters and tapestry hung on the walls, and the smell of incense mixed with the lingering scent of marijuana. The flickering glow of candles cast dancing shadows on the walls, adding to the surreal atmosphere. James took the hit, inhaling deeply. The bitter smoke burned his lungs, and he felt an almost immediate rush. The room around him began to warp and twist. Colors merged into a kaleidoscope of hues, shapes distorted into bizarre forms, and soon, reality melted away, leaving him suspended in a realm of abstract sensations. James found himself in a bustling cityscape, vibrant and alive with activity. The air was thick with the smell of fresh bread from nearby bakeries and the distant laughter of children playing. He looked down and saw a wedding band on his finger. Confused, he caught his reflection in a shop window, older, wiser, and wearing a different face. His hair, once short and neatly trimmed, was now streaked with gray, and laugh lines framed his eyes. As days turned into weeks, he adapted to this new life. He had a loving wife named Claire and two beautiful children, Max and Lily. Claire was an artist, her paintings adorning the walls of their cozy brownstone. Her auburn hair cascaded in loose waves, and her eyes sparkled with warmth and creativity. Max, their eldest, was a curious and energetic 8-year-old with a love for building model rockets. Lily, just 5, had a vivid imagination and spent hours playing dress-up, often proclaiming herself a princess or a superhero. James worked as an architect, creating buildings that touched the sky. His days were filled with meetings, blueprints, and the hum of construction sites. Every morning he woke up to the smell of fresh coffee and the sound of Claire humming a tune in the kitchen. Their lives were a series of cherished moments, family dinners filled with laughter, weekend trips to the countryside, and bedtime stories that transported his children to magical realms. Years passed. He celebrated anniversaries, watched his children grow, and felt the profound joy of fatherhood. Every morning, he woke up next to Claire, grateful for the love they shared. His heart swelled with happiness. Life was perfect, and he couldn't imagine it any other way. One autumn evening, the family gathered in the living room, the fireplace casting a warm glow. Max was excitedly explaining his latest science project, while Lily curled up on James's lap, her favorite stuffed animal clutched tightly. Claire brought in hot cocoa, and they spent the evening sharing stories and dreams for the future. The room was filled with the cozy crackling of the fire and the soft hum of Claire's voice, creating a moment of pure contentment, the kind that James wished could last forever. 15 minutes after taking the hit, James snapped back to his original reality with a violent jolt. The cozy apartment dissolved, replaced by the dimly lit room where his friend sat, looking at him expectantly. Sweat drenched his body, and his heart pounded against his chest. The vivid memories of a lifetime in the city with Claire, Max, and Lily were fresh and agonizingly real. Overwhelmed by grief, James fell into a deep depression. He missed his wife and children desperately. The void left by their absence was unbearable. Days blurred into nights as he struggled to reconcile the vibrant, fulfilling life he experienced with the monotony of his current existence. He became a ghost of his former self, haunted by the family he lost. James sought therapy, but the memories were too vivid, too real. His therapist labeled it a hallucinogenic episode, but to James it was another lifetime cruelly ripped away. He began to experience symptoms of PTSD, plagued by dreams of his lost family and the life he once had. Every night, he lay awake, replaying moments with Claire, Max, and Lily, feeling the ache of their absence. His friends, noticing the change, tried to console him, but their words felt hollow. He withdrew from social activities, preferring the solitude of his apartment. The wall seemed to close in, a constant reminder of the life he could never reclaim. He began to see Claire's face in the crowd, hear Max's laughter in the park, and smell Lily's lavender shampoo in the air. Each sensation a painful reminder of his loss. Desperation took hold as months turned into years. The weight of his grief was crushing, and the line between reality and memory blurred. James considered ending it all, unable to bear the pain of his losses. One night, in a moment of utter despair, he decided to take another hit of Salvia, hoping to reunite with his lost family, even if only for a moment. As the smoke filled his lungs, the world around him twisted once more. He woke in a different life, in a different body, but the emotions were the same. He lived another life with a new family and new memories. Each life was vivid and real, filled with love, joy, and sorrow. But each time, he returned to his original self, each trip more disorienting and heartbreaking than the last. In this new life, James found himself in a small coastal town. The scent of salt water and the sound of seagulls filled the air. He was a fisherman, rugged and weathered by the sea. His wife, Elena, was a strong and loving partner with a fiery spirit. They had 3 children: Ben, a teenage rebel with a passion for music; Sarah, a bookish and thoughtful 12-year-old; and little Tom, a mischievous toddler who kept them all on their toes. James embraced this new reality, finding solace in the routine of early morning fishing trips and family dinners. He taught Ben to play the guitar, helped Sarah with her school projects, and chased Tom around the yard, their laughter echoing through the neighborhood. Elena's love grounded him, her presence a constant source of strength and comfort. However, the joy was always tainted with the knowledge that this too could be a fleeting dream. Every moment felt precious, yet precarious. He cherished the simple pleasures: a sunset over the ocean, a shared meal, a quiet evening by the fire. But the fear of losing it all loomed like a dark cloud. Years passed in this idyllic life by the sea. James found a sense of peace he had longed for, but the shadows of his past lives never fully left him. He often stared out at the horizon, wondering if this life was real or another cruel trick of his mind. The thought haunted him, creeping into his dreams and tainting his waking hours. One stormy night, the family huddled together as the wind howled outside. James held Elena close, her warmth a lifeline in the tempest. Ben strummed his guitar softly, a melody that seemed to soothe the raging storm. Sarah read aloud from her favorite book, and Tom slept peacefully, his tiny hand clutching his father's shirt. As the storm raged on, James felt a strange sensation. The room began to blur, the sounds around him distorted. Panic set in as he realized what was happening. He clung to Elena, desperate to stay, but the world slipped away, and he found himself back in his original life, gasping for air. The return was more brutal than ever. The loss of Elena, Ben, Sarah, and Tom was a fresh wound, tearing his soul apart. The pain was unbearable, and he could no longer distinguish between the lives he lived and the reality he faced. Each return was a nightmare, each loss a dagger to his heart. James spiraled into madness, trapped in an endless loop of lives and deaths. The boundaries of his mind shattered, leaving him in a state of perpetual confusion. Reality became an ever-shifting landscape, an eternal descent into insanity. Each new life was a cruel reminder of what he lost, driving him further into the abyss. In one life, he was a renowned chef in Paris, married to a fellow culinary artist named Isabelle. They ran a small but highly acclaimed restaurant, creating masterpieces that delighted patrons from around the world. They had no children, but their lives were filled with passion and creativity, each dish a testament to their love and dedication. In other, he was a farmer in rural Japan, living a simple and fulfilling life with his wife Aiko and their son Kenji. They worked the land together, finding joy in the changing seasons and the bounty of their harvest. Their evenings were spent under the stars, sharing stories and dreams of the future. In yet another, he was a scientist on the brink of a groundbreaking discovery, married to a fellow researcher named Dr. Maria Valdez. They had 2 daughters, Sophia and Lucia, who inherited their parents' curiosity and intelligence. Their lives were a blend of scientific pursuit and family bonds, each day a new adventure in the world of knowledge. Each life was different, each family unique, but the love and connection were always profound. And each time, the return to his original self was more devastating than the last. The memories of countless lifetimes weighed heavily on his mind, blurring the lines between reality and illusion. In the end, James was left with nothing but fragments of lives he could never fully grasp, a soul forever wandering through the shattered remnants of reality. His mind, once a haven, became a prison, and his quest for escape turned into an unending nightmare. He became a recluse, withdrawing from the world. His friends, unable to understand his torment, drifted away. He stopped seeking therapy, finding no solace in the explanations offered. His apartment, once a refuge, became a mausoleum of memories, each corner a reminder of lives lost and love shattered. James continued to take Salvia, each hit plunging him into a new existence, each return a fresh torment. He lived and died 1,000 times, his mind unraveling with each cycle. The faces of his loved ones blurred, their names lost in the fog of his fractured psyche. He became a ghost, drifting through a maze of shattered dreams and broken realities. James Cartwright lived and died 1,000 times, lost in the infinite labyrinth of his mind, forever haunted by the ghosts of his alternate lives. His quest for escape had become a cruel joke, an unending cycle of hope and despair. Each new life was a fleeting respite, each return a brutal reminder of his fractured reality. In the end, he was left with nothing but the echoes of lives he could never reclaim. A soul forever adrift in the shattered remnants of his mind. His story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragile boundaries of reality and the dangers of seeking escape in the realms of the mind. And so, James Cartwright's eternal descent continued, a tragic journey through the endless corridors of his broken soul, forever searching for the peace he could never find.